camera in Disney, what their role as compared to the create happiness. For example, you and your loved one go to Disney. We all have a camera with us. You take a lot of pictures. Your loved one will continue to snap all the pictures that attracted them. So you spend the next 7 days, 10 days in Disney. You take a lot of pictures, all of photograph. Why do you take photograph? What's the reason? Why do we take photograph? As our memory. It's our memory in a sense. It's part of our memory. So you snap a lot of picture, photograph in Disney. After 10 days of having wonderful fun in Disney, you go home, you upload all your photograph into your system, or either your databases or Facebook or whatever, that doesn't matter. And you and your loved ones put a chair next to each other, start looking at all the picture photograph that you guys took separately through the 2 cameras. After looking at all the picture for the next 5 minutes, you start frowning. You are not happy with those picture, photo at all. Not so much of the skill is no good. Nothing to do with skill. All the cameras are all auto by now. But what are you unhappy about all those photographs? There's something missing. Those photographs that you have taken, either by yourself or by your loved one. To the point that you look at all those photographs and say, why all these photographs all look like this? What happened? What's the missing thing? Most of the photograph is either your face or my face. Most of the photograph is either your face or my face. When do we have a chance to take the photograph together? We all have gone through this in our life. How do we take a photograph with a loved one together? We did one photo. Simple. One of you stand by to the backdrop that you want to take a picture. Next one, chances are could be the hubby. We set the camera to the auto mode, and then you start observing people who are passing by. What are you observing? Look at this person, looks friendly. Sir, can you help me to take a photo? When he say yes, first thing coming from your mouth is auto. And then you quickly come back to your loved one next to her, and you stand next to her, smile, that's the picture you have. Why so difficult? In Disney, they say, offer to take the picture. Offer to take the picture is not by chance. It's part of their DNA, it's part of the whole design as a whole theme park. It's nothing by chance. Even though offer to take a picture is a simple 2-second job. But offer to take a picture means a lot to the customer. And all these 2 examples started from the words we used just now. It started from here called courtesy. They translate all these things down to all the system, behavior, language, whatever you can think of. Think about it from this way. You can't run too far by doing all these things so consistently to be able to create a pattern. It's so consistent. It's all designed. Nothing take chance by chance at all. So by doing so, they are able to deliver a service that people love about them. Let's look at this example. Let's look at this example. Sorry, I clicked the wrong one. Let me look at this example. I said Singapore Airlines is one of those airlines that forced to survive. 1972 split from Malaysia Airlines. You have nowhere else to fly. Where are you going to fly to? Singapore is so small. There's no domestic flight. Every flight take off, you go into the water. There's nowhere else you can fly to. In India, we have domestic flight. In China, we have tons of domestic flight. In just many other countries. In Singapore, we don't have. Every single flight is international flight. And more so, at least more than 30-35% are transit passenger. They don't even go to Singapore. They just transit in Singapore. 1972, split from Malaysia Airlines. The question that in many people's minds, how many days can you survive? You have old aircraft, you have nothing to compete, you have nothing to differentiate yourself. You have zero. You don't even know where to fly to a very large extent. Service quality, these 2 keywords really save the airline, literally. Why do I say so? The whole service quality, the whole service concept is not delivered by chance. It's all involved at a very, very senior level. 1970, all the in-flight service Those are the day, if you happen to have those experience that those 1970. Now you go to many airlines, they offer you red wine, white wines, free newspaper, free entertainment, free anything, free so many things. That wasn't the case in 1970. That wasn't the case in the aviation industry in 1970, including all the small little things, the hot tower I was talking, we learned from a Japanese culture and so on and so forth. In 1970, Singapore Airlines forced to survive to the level that all the in-flight service become a different ball game of service experience. To the level that all the other airlines are talking about it literally. If you go back to those days of all the report, but one organization not happy about that. The organization called IATA, IATA. Because at the moment IATA, those days IATA have a lot of influence over all the airline, though they can't control the airline. We laugh about it nowadays when you look back. Those days, how thick is a sandwich is always a market norm. Because it must fit into the cart, it must fit into the whole system worldwide. So IATA make a complaint. IATA say, hey Singapore Airlines, those services, the way you provide service in the cabin are not acceptable in the market norm. You're not allowed to. If you go back to Singapore Airline history, there's one chapter Singapore Airline quit from IATA. Can you imagine you're such a small country, you're such a small airline, you dare to quit from IATA? But yes, Singapore Airline quit from IATA for one simple reason, because those in-flight service that they deliver, passengers love it. Passengers love it. To the level all other airlines are talking about it. Go to the 90, all the modern fleet. Some of the aircraft that sometimes you look at it when you bought the aircraft, sometimes we start worrying, how old is this aircraft? When you're about to take off, all the sound, the noise they make us worry. In Singapore Airlines, it's become a strategic move. All aircraft must be new as possible. If you happen to board the aircraft in Singapore Airlines, you flip the magazine last few pages, they will tell you all the aircraft that they have, the age that they have. On average, now it's about 6 over years on average. And all these it doesn't come by chance because there's a lot of commitment to do so. It's all start from a senior management. All the way down to the 1990, the service on the ground. Basically, it's the whole journey roadmap for Singapore Airlines over the years. And of course, I think with all these examples, there's only one conclusion that I like to make. At the end of the day, it's all about how do we design something that to allow us to differentiate ourselves compared to others. Of course, I think so far I touched on the whole service strategy concept component, and I'm not here to talk about the whole theory, but it's from a practical point of view, all these are the things that we must do. At the end of the day, if we want to design a good service experience, senior people must be involved. Of course, there are many pieces of work that we need to consider. The whole customer focus strategy I was talking about so far is only one of the bullet points. There are many more that we need to consider. In the automotive industry, the car that you are selling compared to other distributors is the same. It's the same. Just like when we work with Audi and BMW, in Beijing itself, there are more than 10 distributors of BMW car. I can go to you, I can go to you. It's the same model. So you can't differentiate at all. From a product point of view, 100% you can't differentiate. The only thing they can really differentiate themselves is all the service component. So typically we go into a very structured way to go through one at a time to actually go down in such a way that we are able to go through the whole journey. And the whole journey, we will look at it in this manner. Step number one, we always want to find what's the current situation. Step number one. What are the current service that is being delivered by organization? Of course, I think that we all know company all have a lot of customer surveys and all kind of those things. But I guess one of the important information we must gather to go through this journey is our existing people internally. How do they see service being done right now? What might be their perception from a hygiene factor point of view? So step number one, I think we do a lot of all this area work to understand the backdrop infos and so forth. And then we handle the most important part straight away, the leadership and strategy. And literally work with senior people to come up with something called their signature experience, DNA, by design. That's how we typically go into the step-by-step working with many organizations. In this area, you design something that is different compared to your competitors. You design something that is workable from a customer point of view. The different experience that come from all the 4P I was talking about as a fundamental. Nothing more than that. We tend to ignore price to a very large extent because price is something that's given after customer decided to actually buy something from you. It's a given factors in a sense. So in any organization, we always start with the senior level, align their thinking, align the service vision they have in mind, align the engineering that they have in mind, and come up with the whole service strategy that in the form of whole customer experience DNA I was talking about. Traditionally, how do we try to improve our service? Very simple. CEO said we need to improve service. The task will be given to which department? Human resource. Human resource will go and gather some training programs and whatever, try to train all the people up. But unfortunately, I still remember those days when we first started the company in 1990, November. First 3 years, we trained a lot of people in Singapore, to the point that the training result within classroom was so fantastic, but we didn't see result when they go back to the company. Participants learn a lot and they are happy about learning in the classroom, but all the learning in the classroom didn't manage to go translate into the actual action in the company. And we start scratching our head, what happened? Is there something wrong with the training program? No, at the end of the day, what do we mean by training them? Training them sufficiently to deliver the signature experience that we have in mind, designed by senior management. I work with airline the last couple of months by now. Typically it's ongoing. First thing, design the whole customer experience for them. I work with in the country, the biggest bank recently in Southeast Asia, same thing. And right now we are designing something for Botswana. If you happen to know the country over there, at the country level, the whole service experience framework. So at the end of the day, many of the end journey service experience must be designed. That's the only thing that I like to emphasize. At the end of the day, we don't leave it to chance for our people to deliver so-called the best service, because you can never be consistent. You can never be consistent. So by doing so, once we have done so at the senior level, that's where we start cascade down through training, through all the system and all those things, which I'm going to give you the overall picture without bother you down in all the detail in the short while. So these are only two things that we bother at the end of the day. It starts from here. Traditionally, how do we try to train our people? Get a training program, get a trainer, get a consultant, train them up. But you never use, you'll never be able to go into application. I still remember those days we trained all the frontline people, and they told us that they learned a lot from a training program, but yet they don't dare to apply it. Take a simple example. We train them even down to a simple skill called telephone skill. As simple as how to answer a telephone professionally. It's simple skills. So simple that they are able to master it within the class within a couple of hours. Younger like them, all the frontline people learn something about it. Next day go back to the company, they want to apply the learning, the telephone skill they learn from a skill center. Once the phone ring, they are also excited, pick up the phone, good morning, so and so speaking, and so and so forth. The moment she start going through a so-called professional way of answering the telephone, the person next to her start looking at her, something wrong with this person today. Next call come in, phone ring, this person will try the next time, second time. Good morning, so and so speaking. Now more people staring at her. Something wrong with her today. Must be something wrong. When the third call come in, do you think she dare to do it something called professional manner anymore? Should rather be the norm of other people. I don't want to be laughed at or looked at by other people within the organization. Because a bigger culture is a bigger barrier. That's why we say it must start from a senior level. Nothing beats that. If we don't start from a senior level, forget about this journey. It's almost impossible. That's why the MMC that we work, senior level are willing to spend time like I say, BMW, first batch of people I work only 8%, board director, not even a general manager, or a board director. Why do they bother? Yes, because it's important to them. So by having going through this part of journey, once we have done so, can you imagine? In the past, when we try to roll out some initiative related to improving our service quality, service experience, those departments who are nothing to do with this area of work, what will be their behavior or commitment? Hey, my job is this, nothing to do with service. I don't bother. But now you are making the whole service initiative up to the top level right now. Every month, the top man will chair the meeting, steering committee, looking through all the action plan. By doing so, all the senior people know that, hey, even though I may be in the operational department, nothing to do with the service that traditionally I better take part, or else I'll be out from here. Basically, you are indirectly forcing the whole company, chunk out the whole initiative to the top level as starting point, because otherwise it will never work. So with this, the implementation is a lot easier because the content of all these things start from here, nothing more than that. No point to overtrain our people. People come and go. Attrition rate is very high everywhere you go. More so the frontline people. No point to overtrain them, but we must train them sufficiently for them to deliver this. That's what we have in mind. By doing so, bingo, things are no longer that difficult. Of course, ultimately we must be able to do something on this area in the whole system. And I'd like to share with you last few slides for you to as a quick reference. The entire system will look at something in this nature. Let me just go into that right now. Process was the word I started talking about just now. If you still remember, I said conveniently I used the word called process. But in terms of process, it's too small the words by now. It's the entire system I'm talking about. For the whole thing, basically you blueprint the entire service experience, literally. I think just like if you happen to come from an engineering background, you must know something called blueprint on paper to build the building. Any houses and whatever. Blueprint concept come from there. Basically, architects draw the whole thing, the builder will know what to do exactly based on the plan, according to the plan. Nothing more than that. At the end of the day, the blueprint must capture the entire service experience that we have in mind. I always say you have only two choices. Either you design and let your people know how to deliver, or leave it to your people, hopefully they deliver the thing that you have in mind. I think first choice is slightly safer. Or else, inconsistency will always take place. So, of course, all the service standard, customer experience standard, more so the behavioral, the soft aspect of standard, not just operational standard. In the car industry, the automotive industry, turnaround time is important for servicing, for example. Company say, promise the customer, say, I will be able to service your car within 90 minutes, for example. Turnaround time, traditionally, those are the important things. They still remain as important. But there's one more factor that's even more powerful in the standard component. It's all the behavioral component, all the language component that will trigger a lot of emotion from a customer. Take a simple example, the behavior will trigger a lot of your feeling. Traditionally, we say we want to stand tall and talk to our customer. Stand tall, nothing wrong about that. But stand tall will create a mental barrier between you and the customer. Instead of stand tall, we are not Japanese, we don't bow. But in Southeast Asia, in Asia, we were saying that let's do something called 15 degree, 15 degree, I'm going to talk to you in this manner. Instead of talk to you in this manner. You notice that by shifting my body posture, your emotion is different straight away. Similarly, service language is so powerful. Sometimes it's not about the process, how fast I get the thing done alone. Wow, that's important. Service language will trigger a lot of feeling issue. It's all about feeling. It's all about emotion. Take a simple example. Customer will ask you, do you mind to do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for me? From a language grammatically point of view, what's the most appropriate way to answer? Do you mind to do this for me? What's the most appropriate way to answer from a language point of view? From language grammatically point of view? I don't mind. That's the most appropriate, right? Grammatically. But I don't mind is not a service language. I don't mind is the lousiest ways of a service language. I'm not going to tell you I don't mind. I'm going to tell you I'm happy to. You get the same outcome, but the feeling is different. One of those flights I was flying recently, I think a couple of weeks ago, I went up to the flight, quite a few hours of journey. I asked for a magazine. I asked for the magazine called T3. It's a gadget magazine. They don't have the magazine for that flight. Somehow, one of the passengers must have actually picked it up earlier before me. So I was asking the cabin crew, on the way back my return journey, can you make sure that you get a copy for me? And she told me in this manner, I will try my very best to get a copy for you. And she followed by one last statement, but no promise. But no promise killed the whole thing, that whatever she told me earlier on. She told me, I will try my very best to get a copy of T3 magazine for you on your return flight. But no promise. No promise is not a good service language. No promise to kill everything. No promise you try to protect yourself. So at the end of the day, many of all those things go into the service standard, but not the traditional operational standard alone. Operational standard is important, but the soft standards are equally powerful. This area of work, we have done so for many over the years from a system point of view. If you happen to go to Singapore last couple of years, if you happen to know them, before the mall was open, this is one of the landmarks by now in Singapore. Before the mall was open, in fact the mall is only 3 years old by now. This not most updated 2010, 2011, 2012 result, same thing. They are 3 full years, first 3 years, they are the best shopping mall experience. But no surprise to us, because everything in there is all design. The whole service interface is all part of design. From the place, the people, and the processes, all are designed. As simple as when you go to the washroom, the smell is all controlled with the crowd in mind. It's all controlled. We don't leave it to chance. When you go to the info counter, the way they handle you is all mapped out from all the service language. So what we are saying is, service experience must be designed if we want to see a consistent service pattern. Service experience must be designed in such a way that we are able to see the result. So once we've done so, there are only 2 pieces, as I mentioned. Of course, training is still important here. Training is still a very important activity. We are not denying that. But training content must come from here. Nothing more than this. But training approach, the approach that we are using right now may not be the most effective way. Because once you sit down at a comfortable chair for the next 15 minutes, people will relax. Let's be upfront about it. Once you sit down on your chair for first 15 minutes, you start to relax with the wonderful AC, the environment. Human beings, we all behave in this manner. That's why people will start stretching and try to do something about it. Nothing new, nothing wrong about that. But even at the senior level, we do a lot of fun thing with them. And if you happen to know them, this gentleman, DBS Bank, the biggest boss, Mr. Piyush. I think some of you might know him. We done a lot of things for them, designed the thing for them. We let them play games. It's a whole learning process that is so different compared to lecture. Service can never be taught. Service must be learned from the heart. Emotionally, you must be involved. We let them learn, play game. He's the biggest boss, he's a CEO. And this guy is an extremely senior people. They put in the 6 countries, all the senior people, 46 of them in Singapore, and we did the work for them. And why do we end up doing the job for them? He himself gave a call to the boss in the Citibank China. The gentleman right now in India, I think you met him the last round, Mr. Anand. He is a Citibank, I think one of the big bosses. I was working with him in Shanghai 2007 May, the similar area of work. So far, we notice that the whole learning change. Lecture will never get you anywhere, because lecture will only give you the knowledge. You must well get your staff to go and read some book. No use at all. It's all emotion. At the end of the day, it's not whether can they do the job well or not. Can they deliver a good service or not. They all can get it done easily. It's whether are they willing to